Glad I get to follow Jeremy. Great presentation. Love the part about the NFTs, as that's something we cover. I want to start with a few questions. How many of you have actually done a cryptocurrency transaction or payment? Okay. A few. Okay. How many of you did transactions off of an exchange like Coinbase or something via MetaMask or some other personal custody wallet? Oh, great. Okay, we've expert crowd. I like it. So what I'm here to talk to you about today is P2P payments, which are really P2P transactions. You see I work this here. Great, it's nice and easy. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I actually got into cryptocurrencies here in Vegas. It all started here. I purchased cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin, back in 2013, back when it was in double digits. And then when it got to triple digits, I sold it to fund a friend's bachelor party. And I still joke with him to this day that it's the most expensive bachelor party in history. But it was good. So after that, it turned out to be good timing. The world's only Bitcoin exchange at the time, Mt. Gox, had a very large hack, and I was lucky enough to sell before that happened. Scared me away for a little bit, and I got out. I was out for several years. I moved out to San Francisco, to Silicon Valley, worked at a number of companies like GoPro, Opportune, several other drone and fintech companies, which are both passions of mine. As a pilot and software engineer, working with drones is a great mesh of two things I hold near and dear. And then fintech, I've always had a affinity for money. Around 2017, when there was another run-up in crypto, everybody, at least in the Bay Area, was talking about cryptocurrency, and so I entered back into the market. Had a great time. It was fast-paced. There were things happening all the time, lots of different innovation. And so I actually started a cryptocurrency mining company with several friends. We mined a number of different cryptocurrencies. Relax a little bit here, put this closer so you can hear me. We mined a number of different cryptocurrencies using a number of different platforms, such as ASICs, graphics card miners. I am one of those people responsible for your gaming machines being expensive, I apologize, and cloud mining solutions. And then the crypto market crashed. So we decided to sell our machines, and I got out for a little while, did some consulting for Fortune companies such as Walmart and a couple of others, CBS Radio. And around 2018, we saw a resurgence in crypto, thanks to the advent of smart contracts. As Jeremy explained, we are now able to transact in a trustless environment. A legal contract can now be essentially self-executing. This has led to a number of different innovations, such as staking, yield farming, P2p Insurance, P2p Lending. All of these things happen on the blockchain. While cryptocurrency trading volume may be around 90 billion, the Web3 or DeFi products and services market is currently around 290 billion, with about 35,000 cryptocurrencies. You can check those numbers on DeFi Sherpa. So right now with P2P transactions, even though we're all experts in the room and seem to have been doing a lot of cryptocurrency transactions, the vast majority of the world is not. They're used to an environment where P2P transactions are dumb, for lack of a better term. Their money, their assets do not work for them. When they transact with somebody, that's it. The future of P2P transactions is smart money via cryptocurrency, where your money works for you and earns revenue for you while you sleep. So there is a there are some issues with current P2P transactions that are done using fiat currencies, your US dollar, your euro, etc. So one of the largest issues is transaction friction. So with current P2P transactions, you see a lot of transaction friction. This is a problem because it decreases GDP, it decreases innovation. When you have a low velocity of money or capital, it's harder to move that capital to the people that need it to enable innovation, to enable new products, and to enable new products and services for all of us. Some of this friction comes in the form of fees, specifically in international transfers. We're all probably familiar with SWIFT. If you're not, it's the international banking infrastructure that the world, or most of the world except for Russia, uses today for making transactions. There are fees throughout the system. Some of these fees include, but aren't limited to, currency conversion rates, correspondent bank fees, landing fees. If there's a payment problem, even if it's not your fault, you can see repair charges, return fund fees, tracing costs, a whole number of fees that prevent a higher velocity environment for capital. It's a completely different environment with cryptocurrencies. With cryptocurrencies, we have a number of products and services that only serve to increase velocity, and even today we can see the results of that. With P2P wallets such as Coinbase Wallet, such as MetaMask, such as Trust Wallet, you're in control of your capital. And sending $1 million or $1,000 is as easy as a QR code. And with many of the blockchains we see today, the fees can be less than $1. That's very powerful because that enables a number of different services that are just not possible in the fiat world. Staking is one of those services which is akin to a savings account. When a company or entity wants to raise capital or through cryptocurrency, you can stake your cryptocurrency with them and they can pay you back a return similar to a savings account or bond. It's very easy to do this, and with most of the offerings today, there is no lockup period, and the returns on these are great, anywhere from 4 to 4,000%. Because of this, you see a higher velocity in capital. If somebody is offering 4,000%, rest assured that people will send them crypto quickly. If that opportunity disappears or something else comes along, there are no barriers like we see in the fiat world that prevent capital from going somewhere else. And so competition is great, and that's better for the lender, because that means that if there's another opportunity, you can get to it quickly. And that also means that people have to compete and make better products and services and innovate faster to keep the capital that they have. We also see P2P lending. Now, most traditional lending is through banks, requires a middleman to do underwriting, to manage funds, to do a number of things. That overhead is eliminated in the cryptocurrency space. Through the use of smart contracts, P2P lending can truly be peer-to-peer. If I want to lend my Ethereum to somebody else, there are a number of platforms that allow me to do that today. It's very simple. I will be paid a certain rate for supplying my Ethereum. The smart contract will manage the pool of Ethereum that's available for lending, do the underwriting, take a small fee of any lending, and then the cryptocurrency, Ethereum in this case, would be lent out at a higher rate. Very simple, very straightforward, and very transparent. I can see exactly who that cryptocurrency has been lent out to. I can see what the rate is, and I can track any delinquencies, any issues with any of that lending very, very easily. So again, this leads to higher velocity because there's more transparency. There is easier access to capital for people. Underwriting standards are very transparent. Most P2P lending services require collateralized debt, so there is some cryptocurrency put up as collateral. And if people miss payments, that collateral is taken. This is very safe. And again, increases velocity and increases trust in the system. And most times, people that get these loans can get these loans quicker than they would in the fiat world and much easier. We also have P2p Insurance. Now, it would be dishonest of me to sit up here and talk about cryptocurrencies and P2P transactions without mentioning hacks. Many platforms have seen hacks, unfortunately, and some of them have responded well by making their investors whole. But that's not good enough. We need to have insurance so that people know that their assets are safe. The cryptocurrency space has already developed P2P Insurance that allows people to insure their cryptocurrency whenever they stake it or provide it for lending services. So the market has already adapted at a pace, at a velocity that the fiat world just can't match. While most people don't know about it, you can insure your cryptocurrency so that if there is a hack that happens, you can be made whole. The great thing about this is it is still a P2P transaction, and that is a key factor in most of the DeFi or Web3 space. By removing the middleman, we lower fees and we make all of these products and services peer-to-peer. And so if I want to provide capital or liquidity to an insurance smart contract, I can do that, and instead of the revenue and profits going to a large insurance company, those profits are decentralized to people like you and me. It's truly a peer-to-peer environment. Let's talk about payment freedom. As we've seen over the past couple months, payment freedom can be very important. You need to be able to do peer-to-peer transactions with who you choose within reason. With the unfortunate events in Ukraine happening, the Ukrainian government was unfortunately put in a tough spot where they needed to raise a lot of money very quickly. They were able to do so using NFTs and cryptocurrencies and smart contracts to the tune of over $50 million in just a few days. Wouldn't be possible in the fiat world because of administrative hurdles and other bureaucratic hurdles that you might see. Those funds were aggregated from a number of different people all over the world very, very quickly. People were able to vote with their money, making a more democratic and decentralized market. And we can see the benefits of that in Ukraine being able to raise that capital so quickly for their defense. Contrasting that with the fiat world, where we see a lot of access to capital and payment freedom being politicized. Whether you agree or disagree with someone, an open market usually leads to better economic outcomes for everybody. And so when we close down markets, we can expect, whether it's short-term or long-term, to see issues. Recently, with Canadian truckers, we did see the blockage, a block of payments by the government. Something like that is much harder, if not impossible, in the cryptocurrency world, because whether or not a government wants to see transactions happening, they're going to happen. Now, those transactions can still be traced, and arguably much easier traced than in the fiat world. With a blockchain, you can easily see transactions. You can trace the tree of transactions to see not only where money started, but where it finishes, no matter where it goes. And so we have that openness. We have that ability to transact in a peer-to-peer way, but we also have an open market where, if it's necessary, those payments, those transactions can be easily traced, and they can be easily regulated or dealt with in the appropriate manner. So, like I said, with payment freedom we have in cryptocurrencies, we have uncensored commerce, not only at the state level, but again at the P2P level. Ukrainian refugees used cryptocurrencies to bring their wealth, their capital, easily across a border. And it's, again, in an unfortunate event, you don't have a lot of time to go to the bank, to maybe empty assets from various accounts, or those accounts may not be available. They may be locked down. Again, in the cryptocurrency space, in the Web3 environment, that's just not a concern. If I stake or deposit my cryptocurrency assets, they're available to me whenever I want to. Another perfect example of this would be our fundraising endeavors. We recently started our seed round and have been lucky enough to find a few investors so far that believe in our vision. We take half of our our funds from fundraising, and we stake them in low-risk opportunities. Those funds are available to us in less than 24 hours if we need them. And so, unlike traditional investment vehicles, we have something that is as good as cash, but provides us yields that are investment grade, and again, at investment grade risk. So there's a very low friction to these transactions, but we are able to multiply the money that we get, even with just 10% of our seed round raised. We already, through staking, through lending, will be able to have 2 more months of runway than we would have expected. Again, with very easily accessible. And so that payment freedom is very important, because you're going to get that freedom through low friction and ease of use. So again, we're making capital smarter, right? If this is the future, why is it the future? At a very, very basic level, your money is going to work for you, and it's going to work better. And it's going to be in a decentralized manner, which means there are less people that can control it, and that gives you more freedom. Again, the vehicles we see today are through staking, which is analogous to a savings account or a bond. We're seeing it through yield farming, which is high-frequency trading between different lending platforms. We're seeing it through liquidity pools, which allow people to easily convert cryptocurrencies from one to another at a relatively low rate. We're seeing it through lending, which is simple peer-to-peer lending. And we're seeing it through peer-to-peer insurance, which is a solution to a problem we already see, where people are worried about the risk of these new platforms, these new products, these new services, and they're looking to mitigate that risk. And so that's what I have for you today. DeFi Sherpa is a data aggregation platform. So I know I've thrown a lot of information at some of you, and this can be a confusing space as it is brand new. What we seek to do with DeFi Sherpa is provide a place where people can easily find this data, aggregate this data, and then make smart decisions when they're using these P2P products and services, and also learn about them. Are there any questions? Yes.
Hello. Yeah, I have never used like cryptocurrency before, but my question to you is, what's the security behind this cryptocurrency? Like I could be wrong, but like I heard that it all depends upon the hard disk of your PC. Like, basically my question is, what exactly the security behind that cryptocurrency, and how we can make sure that we are safe, we are putting money on?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's a multi-layer question. So at a couple of different, we'll start at the lower level. So as Jeremy explained before, there is the double spend problem, and that's really the original problem that blockchain solves. It prevents digital currencies from being double spent. At the next layer, we'll call the UI UX layer. You're going to need to see traditional security processes and procedures that you'd be used to on a mobile app or a website to prevent somebody from hacking the user interface. So even though these technologies are great, they're new, the way we interact with them is still through a mobile phone app. It's still through a website. Those platforms have been around for a while and have established security processes and procedures that need to be followed to make sure that hacks don't occur at that level. Now, a website or an app with a blockchain platform or protocol is really just a front end. It's just what you see. When you're interacting with a blockchain, for these services, what you're interacting with is a smart contract. There are a number of different companies that are providing smart contract audit services. We're in talks with one of them to provide information on which platforms and protocols have had their smart contracts audited. Because there are a number of smart contract auditing services, we really want to focus on providing that data to our users so that somebody like you, as they enter the market, or even a pro, when they come to our platform and look at the different opportunities and are trying to decide where to put their capital, can see that the smart contract they're interacting with has been audited. That means somebody's looked at the code, they verified it follows best practices, and that it is secure and it is not a scam. And so that's going to protect you at the smart contract level. The last level would be the team. Anybody that's participated in a startup, whether as a member of the team or through investment, knows success and failure starts with the team. As this is the wild, wild west in the cryptocurrency space, there are scams out there, there are bad actors. And so vetting the team is important, the same way you would do if you were investing as an angel, as part of a fund, because if you don't have good people, you're not going to have a good product. Great indicators of a good team are, have they doxed or documented themselves? Are they on social media such as Twitter? Are they just using an anonymous account, or can you see a face? Do you know who they are? Do they have a track record in this? As I said before, my prior experiences as a software developer, as a project manager, as a release manager in Silicon Valley, at various startups and Fortune 5 companies. So, I'm ready to stand on my experience. You want to find projects and protocols with teams that are willing to stand on their experience and their reputation. So we have the front end UI experience, web or mobile app, where you're going to need to make sure see that they're following normal security processes and procedures. You're going to have the smart contract layer where somebody like us, DeFi Sherpa, is going to provide that data to you to say, this is a platform or smart contract that's been audited, and so it's going to be lower risk to you. And you can still mitigate that risk, as I said, with insurance. And then you're going to want to look at the team and see, are these legitimate men and women? Are these people with a track record? Are these people that are willing to put their name to their work?
Okay, now that's answered my question. Thank you.
Sure. Yes.
So my question is, what do you see for the future of crypto? Do you think governments are going to be using this, or is it going to be incorporated into infrastructure such as tolls on roadway systems? I'm just interested to know your perspective on the future of cryptocurrency.
Yeah, absolutely. So like the internet, I think it's going to be incorporated into every part of our life in a way that none of us can imagine right now. Since I do stare at it every day, I might be able to give you some things that you may have not thought about. Staking is a very interesting concept, especially with the low friction transactions in cryptocurrency that we see. It enables a lot of different business models that just wouldn't make sense today. I think software is actually a great example, because by using software, you could actually be staking a cryptocurrency. In effect, what I could do as a software provider is I can provide you my cryptocurrency or another cryptocurrency just for having my software running on your machine. While most people may not consider it, you're actually providing me value by using my software. I get to ask you for feedback on how it's working, on new features that you might want and will pay me for. And there's a ton of data that I get to collect just from you simply using my software and paying for the privilege to do so. It wouldn't be feasible with fiat to pay you for that, that relationship. With crypto, it is. Bitcoin, Ethereum, other cryptocurrencies are divisible to and around 18 places. It varies by cryptocurrency. And so even for a single individual, I can pay you. We can have a two-way transaction. And so you can turn around, you can hold that cryptocurrency, which helps me because my cryptocurrency increases in value. You can sell it for US dollar, something else, and go do whatever you want to with it. But that one-way relationship is now a two-way relationship. We see some of this already in the Web3 space today. A lot of decentralized exchanges, which provide a lot of the services I just discussed, will actually provide staking for their cryptocurrency. And you get that, again, just for using their products and services. That keeps the value of their cryptocurrency at a relatively high level, and that increases interest in their project. And so it's a win-win for everybody. I think one of the things that's going to characterize the future as it pertains to cryptocurrency are two-way relationships with consumers and providers, buyers and sellers. If you are not paying me for my data, for my time, then I don't think it's going to be very easy for you to survive, because there are so many people that are working on business models where they are paying their customers, where they have that two-way relationship, because not only does that provide value to their customers, but it engenders loyalty. If I'm paying you, but I'm in effect getting a discount in something, in a currency that may increase, am I going to switch to my competitor? I don't think so. I'm probably going to stick with you as long as you're providing that service and continuing to compensate me for the data that I provide you.
Perfect, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
I just out of curiosity, when the internet first became popular, everything was kind of being flooded with, new websites, new this, new that. Do you think there's going to be a point where cryptocurrency and, the kind of evolution of that is going to kind of do the same, where it's not going to be very profitable over time?
So, let's step out here. Tired of the podium. I think that's a two-part question. I think just like the internet, we will see a bubble pop. We track around 1,200 different platforms providing those services I provided. All of them aren't going to be here in the future. In fact, part of the reason we started DeFi Sherpa is because instead of trying to figure out what mix of products and services and what blockchain we needed to be on, we decided to just provide the pickaxes to the gold diggers, if you will, and report on the data that people need instead of trying to create or invest in a winner. So that time is coming. I don't think that it will ever not be profitable, and I think it will always be more profitable than the products and services in fiat for a couple of reasons. One, there's just less overhead. Again, if you're not familiar with smart contracts, you have apparently two experts you can talk to after the sessions. And those smart contracts at a very low level remove bureaucratic overhead. I don't need X number of underwriters. I need Y for my insurance products and services because I have smart contracts to do the bulk of my underwriting, and then I can have humans do anything that's an outlier, and so that's a questionable risk. Same thing for lending, right? At a very low level, no matter what kind of lending or insurance you're doing, I need less people, and these are highly skilled people, right? So at that administrative level, we just simply need less people. We can also transact much quicker. In the fiat world, if you have an investment that you can get cash from in 24 hours, that's considered liquid. Liquid in the crypto world is an hour. That's it. All of my crypto holdings could be liquidated in an hour. You just don't get that in the fiat world. Easier access. Again, higher velocity, lower friction, and historically, anything that's easier to use and is quicker is going to be more popular. We're just creatures of habit, and at I think a very fundamental level, people are lazy, right? We want easy and we want quick. I think that because of that velocity, cryptocurrency products and services can respond quicker to market conditions. I mentioned yield farming, didn't go into it too much, but all yield farming simply is, at a very low level, is taking a pool of cryptocurrency and moving it between different lending pools, seeking the best returns. So as these lending pools change their interest rates, these yield farming protocols will move crypto to one and then move it to another. You can't really do that today in the fiat world, or if you do, you have to give money to a very expensive high-frequency trading team in order to build a custom algorithm to do it for you. Again, if you wanted to do high-frequency trading in the crypto space, you need 10 minutes and a laptop, and that's it. And so, again, we see that being something that was originally available to very wealthy, very small group of people, now available to everybody. And you can iterate much quicker. And so I think because of that low friction of transaction, that high velocity of capital, like I said, we already see that on a smaller scale. We see high innovation and we see it happening quickly. And with those three things in place, I think it's always going to be more profitable to go with crypto. It's just a matter of people understanding it and somebody building the user interface that makes it easy enough for everybody to not only understand, but to use. I'm popular today. That's good.
Might be a dumb question, but
There's no such thing.
As I'm listening, the fiat world, I just thought, I'm sitting here, I can get 5 or 10 of my best friends who have crypto. I could start a bank.
You could.
So what is the fiat world going to do to stop that, do you think? What? Because I feel like, man, I have some crypto. I know I have 5 or 10 friends that have crypto. Dang, we can be stakeholders and lenders. What prevents us from doing that? And in that case, what is the fiat world going to do to stop it, you think?
Yeah, so the answer to I guess the first part of your question is what's stopping you from doing that is probably 2 hours of consulting time with somebody like me and a laptop, and that's it. If you wanted to set up a bank or a fund in order to invest in these lending opportunities, nothing is stopping you. You could do it probably by 6 o'clock this afternoon if you wanted to. As far as what governments are going to do, I think they're going to try and fail. And I think they're going to try and prevent some of this from happening, or trying to stop some of it from happening through regulation. I think a lot of the reason those regulations will fail is because of, again, high velocity and low friction transactions. And the reason that applies in this situation is we live in a global world, and with cryptocurrencies, borders are next to meaningless. When the pandemic started, I'm also a student of history, huge history nerd. So the first thing I did was look up the Spanish flu. And so based on that, I knew this would be probably a 2.5 year situation. So I packed up my stuff in San Francisco, put it in boxes, and decided to travel the Americas. Great experience. I got to talk to a lot of different people from a lot of different cultures. And one of the things that I found is these people are ready to compete on a global scale. Because of social media, they see things, lifestyles that they're not used to seeing, and they want it. And so they're ready to compete. If one country sets up regulations that are unfriendly to cryptocurrencies, NFTs, et cetera, another country will fill the gap. Great example of this is actually America. The Chinese used to be the #1 Bitcoin miners in the world. China banned Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies for the, 10th time. They have a habit of doing that. I think it was last year, but it looks like they did it for good this time. Bitcoin miners in China promptly packed up all their stuff, actually sent it through Singapore and some other Southeast Asian countries to avoid embargoes and trade issues, and brought it right here to the good old US of A in Texas, in North Carolina, and other states that were more than happy to have them come and do business in their states. That happened to China. There's no reason it can't happen to America. There's no reason it can't happen to Argentina. Again, we're in a global world now and have been for some time, so we are interconnected. People are used to that interconnectedness, and they want to do business. They want to participate. So whether those regulations ban cryptocurrency, whether they seek to slow down the velocity of transactions, whether they're trying to help a government exert control over the money of their citizens, there's competition. And when you're this open, when you have competition, same thing as trying to stop the internet, right? It's not going to work. Innovation is like water. You can only redirect it. You can't stop it. So they'll try, they'll fail. What that looks like, not quite sure. But I do know what the end looks like. So it'll be interesting to see how we get there. But hopefully everybody gets to be their own bank like you and your friends. Anybody else? All right. I think I'm going to be very popular at happy hour, huh?
A quick question about proof of stake chains, and do you think with Bitcoin being, not as environmentally friendly as the other, do you think these proof of work chains will be phased out and maybe, turn into like wrapped assets, like wrapped Bitcoin is on Ethereum right now?
That's a great question. So I guess a little side note, a plug. With DeFi Sherpa, our MVP is out right now. So our user interface is ugly because we concentrated on data, and grabbing that up. We're doing our redesign now. It'll be ready in about a month. But one of the things that we found during our MVP session we released in January is that people are very excited about wrapped assets. I'm glad you asked that. For those that don't know, wrapped Bitcoin, wrapped Ethereum is essentially representing Bitcoin on another blockchain. So even if you have Ethereum and you're on the Ethereum blockchain, you can actually buy a currency or a cryptocurrency that tracks the price of Bitcoin, long story short. I think wrapping is a path to retiring some cryptocurrencies. I think something like Bitcoin has a lot of momentum behind it. When I asked my questions at the beginning, although there are several, there were still only a few, less than the majority, that had done P2P transactions using cryptocurrency. We're still very early, and so name recognition is important. Bitcoin is shorthand for cryptocurrency the same way iPhone is for mobile phone. It's not going away anytime soon. However, a lot of the product, services, and innovation that we see aren't available on Bitcoin and other legacy cryptocurrencies. Plus, a lot of the earlier cryptocurrencies have other issues, such as higher transaction fees, lowering velocity of those transactions, and of course, environmental concerns. I think proof of stake is definitely going to be the wave of the future. Proof of stake, for those that aren't aware, is essentially instead of mining with lots of different specialized computers for cryptocurrency, you secure a node, a cryptocurrency node, using some set amount of cryptocurrency. So you're staking. I think that's the way to go because it is much more environmentally friendly. I think we will start to see consolidation, and I think the path for that consolidation is wrapped assets because of environmental concerns, because of expensive transaction fees, and people just aren't going to tolerate it. When Ethereum started its first transaction fee increase, I was one of those people that bridged to the Binance Smart Chain, moved a lot of my assets over to the Binance Smart Chain, and then Polygon, and now everybody's excited about Solana. So there's already precedent to see some of that moving of crypto between blockchains. I think that's the path to do it, through wrapped currencies.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Saving the rest for happy hour? Okay. Thank you, everybody. It's a pleasure.